less than a handful of times. Maybe a good game to get clicking because they're welcoming in the lowly, and I mean lowly, 14th in the East, Charlotte Hornets. Doncic to LeBron, dunking over Mark Williams, who was a Laker for like 18 minutes until he failed the physical, and he also failed to do anything right there. What are you going to do against a 40-year-old LeBron coming down the way with an absolute hammer? John McEnroe in the building. Bronny's like, that's my dad. Game tied at 80 after the Hornets answer with a triple. The Lakers are actually down until Bron. Money. Game tied at 83. The Lakers attempted 51 threes. That's a franchise record. They only hit 15 of them. Not great. 29% per my math. And then Miles Bridges, he had 5 threes by himself, 29 points. Hornets up 93-90. Rui, no. Luka, offensive rebound, yes. Pretty good for a guy that's supposed to be out of shape. 14 points, 11 boards. Lakers up, but then Nick Smith Jr. Charlotte, a 13.5-point underdog, but they're up 2 points. Dog. LaMelo, 12 of his 27 points came in the fourth quarter. Actually, he leads the NBA in fourth quarter points per game at just under 9. He finishes with 27. Charlotte up a 4 spot. 14 seconds left. Luka on the inbound, getting it to LeBron, because 10 seconds. LeBron, can we pull it to within 1? Got it. So the Lakers now down 98-97. 6 ticks left. Luka again on the inbound. He's open on the wing, but Bron's going to take a 30-footer. No. Offensive rebound for the tie. No again. LeBron finishes with 26. Hornets win 197. Here's Luka after the loss.
Obviously, it's going to take a lot of time. Today, a lot of rustiness for my part. So, start the game with like 4 or 5 turnovers. That can't happen. So, it's got to, play the basketball the right way.
This is his 3rd game since Christmas, and it's his 3rd game with us in the sense of just trying to. He still doesn't know all the plays. He doesn't know all the defensive coverages, all the signals and things that we've built since September. So, obviously we were trying to fast track it on the fly. He's coming back from his injury. He's getting back into form. So we're all working through it together.
You heard Luka mention the turnovers. The Lakers as a team had 18. Luka had 6 of them, tying his season high. 4 turnovers in a game, and again, probably just get familiar with the offensive system. 5 of his 6 turnovers came in the first quarter alone, so we ironed it out the last 3. Senior NBA writer Brian Windhorst joining the program now. Windy, good morning. Thanks for getting up early with us. Just 3 games into the LeBron and Luka pairing, we're already dissecting who gets the final shot. Last night, it was LeBron 2 times over. What did you make of the call by J.J. Redick to give the rock to LeBron, maybe over Luka?
Yeah, I know that's why people are going to look at coming out of that game. But if J.J. Redick had drawn up the play for Luka, it would have been a dereliction of duty. Mm-hmm. Luka was terrible shooting in this game. 5 of 18 overall, 1 of 9 on threes. LeBron had way more juice in the fourth quarter. Frankly, I was surprised Charlotte allowed him to even get that shot off. The strategy there would usually be to foul, and they just totally let him walk into the shot. It was a long shot, but he had just hit one a second earlier. On that play where they got the 3-pointer a little bit earlier, they had also had Luka as the inbounder. So Luka is really looking rusty. He doesn't look like himself at all. He was taken out of the game late for defensive purposes because the Hornets were targeting him just about every possession. The game fell apart for the Lakers after Austin Reeves got ejected, which wasn't in the highlight, I realized, but was also probably the moment of the game. So I think there's a lot more going on for this team to deal with than who takes the last shot, at least right now.
Yeah, first quarter ejection for Reeves. The Lakers now have lost back-to-back games to the 14th place team in the West, and then last night in the East. How concerned should Lakers fans be about those 5th seed right now in the West Lake Show?
Yeah, that loss to the Jazz at the end of the first half, that didn't seem like that big of a deal. But when you compound it with this loss, now the Lakers have put themselves in a bit of a rut because they go to Portland tonight, second night of back-to-back. LeBron plays 38 minutes last night on that foot issue. I don't even know what his status is going to be for tonight. Portland has won 6 consecutive home games, Gary. So this is a big task tonight. Then they play their 3rd game in 4 nights Saturday in Denver. I'm not sure if you've heard, but the Nuggets own the Lakers. They've beaten them 12 of the last 13 times. Now, Luka hasn't been there for those games, but Luka doesn't look like his best self right now. He's looking very sluggish and needs time to get into game shape. So if Lakers lose both of those games, it's not the end of the world, but it's compounded by the fact that they just spiked games against two of the worst teams in the league coming into it.
You mentioned Portland and then at Denver. And then in 5 days from right now, it's the Lakers hosting Luka's former team in the Mavericks. All right, something juicy there. Brian, thank you so much. We'll check back with you. The turnovers, the Lakers had 18 as a team. He had 6 of them, so a third, tying his season high for turnovers in a game this season. 5 of those came in the first quarter alone. As promised, Brian Windhorst back with us this morning. Windy, good to see you again. 5 of the Lakers' next 6 opponents, West playoff teams right now. So how critical is this stretch for LA?
Yeah, they're obviously, in a tenuous position in the standings, losing ground after they were so good before the break. But as you watch them play, Gary, the opponent is secondary right now. Their biggest opponent is kind of themselves as they work on getting their offense back on track. Ideally, you look at this stretch, 2 games with the Jazz, a game with the Hornets, and a game with the Trailblazers, and think they'll kill that. But they split the Jazz games. They lose to one of the worst teams in the league in the Hornets last night. And yeah, it's the Blazers, but they've won 6 consecutive home games, and they get the Lakers on a back-to-back. And then you go to Denver, where you've lost 12 of the last 13 against the Nuggets. So it's a bit of a challenging time. I would just caution not to overreact to how the Lakers play over this next week. I almost think that game with Dallas could be a good thing because it will fire Luka up because he's playing a little tentative so far.
Sure. At Portland, at Denver, and then 5 days from now, it's the rematch against his former Mavericks in L.A. on February 25th. You mentioned the Nuggets. They've won 8 straight. What are you seeing with this team just a couple seasons removed from a championship?
Well, obviously, Nikola Jokic is putting up MVP numbers again, but the reason that they've hit this hot streak is Jamal Murray getting back to the Jamal Murray that we saw in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Yep. He had a real sluggish start to the season, but during this win streak, he's just been dynamic. He had 55 in his last game before the break. He's had 3 30-point games in the 8-game win streak. The interesting thing for tonight, Russell Westbrook is back after missing 7 games with a hamstring issue. How they reintegrate him with Murray playing so well in the starting lineup will be key to watch. But they get the Hornets in this stretch, a team that is, again, coming off a West Coast back-to-back. I like Denver's chances of continuing the streak tonight. And then their favorite team to play in the entire world on Saturday night in home on ABC against the Lakers. So the Denver Nuggets are feeling good about themselves, and they're going to be definitely looking forward to these next couple of games to reintegrate Westbrook.
Third in the West, looking up right now to the Grizzlies, who are in that second seed, and then everybody looking up, of course, to the Thunder. Windy, let's run through the rest of the West. We got Kevin Durant and the Suns taking on the Spurs, who could be without Wemby tonight. He's doubtful with an illness. Phoenix won the only previous matchup between these two teams earlier in the season, back in December. Wemby had 15. KD left the game in the second quarter with an ankle injury. And here's a look at the West standings as presently constructed. The Suns and the Spurs, both just on the outskirts of the play-in, both with an uphill climb down the stretch. Per ESPN Analytics, the Suns have the 3rd most difficult remaining schedule, while the Spurs, they rank 5th, which basically begs the question, Windy, how would you characterize the current state of each of these teams? And let's start with San Antonio.
Yeah, it's kind of a sneaky big game tonight. San Antonio was able to make a major upgrade to their roster at the trade deadline because they heard that De'Aaron Fox was available, and within 4 days, they execute a trade for him. That is as big of an upgrade as you could get. They didn't give up any of their core pieces to do it. And so now, regardless of whether they make the play-in or not, the second half of the season will be about Fox and Wembanyama establishing a rapport together. I would expect Fox to sign a big contract extension in the summer. It was pretty much understood that was the way it was going to go. So no matter what happens, that's what you're watching with them. It's the exact opposite for Phoenix. The Spurs got their business done super fast. Phoenix tried for weeks to upgrade their roster, specifically trying to figure out a way to trade for Jimmy Butler, and then trade away Kevin Durant. They weren't able to do anything because they're in the second apron and they're hampered. I can't explain, Gary, why this team is under 500. You look at their pieces and parts, they should be better. They aren't getting great production from a lot of guys, but it's unexplainable to me that this collection of talent is performing at this level. And as you mentioned, They have a tough schedule. This is almost a must-win game for them tonight, especially if Wembanyama doesn't play. They're not going to get many games like this coming up.
Yeah, they're on the road for their next 4 games. They don't play back at home in Phoenix.